everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today we're going to be looking at Notoriously Morbid, which I am super duper excited about. A few of my subscribers had requested a little while ago that I do a bit of a review on Notoriously Morbid. It took a minute to get my two orders to arrive here. I would say on average about 3 to 4 weeks. So it did take a minute. You know, that's kind of, I feel like, what you get with indie brands because they oftentimes are handmade. You probably only have a couple people working there. And so I feel like it's just part of the anticipation of getting the stuff. And so I'm not particularly mad. I know going in with most indie brands, it's gonna take a little bit of time to get to me. 99% of the time worth the wait. And I am sure with this one, just by looking at the stuff, that it absolutely is. And so I'm not mad at all because this is gonna be fantastic. I've got my power brows on and everything. We're gonna do this. But I do have 6 single type dillies, and then I do have a palette that I grabbed. And this is the Rip My Effing Heart Out palette. It's an anti-Valentine's Day palette, which I think is appropriate for someone like me who is very much against Valentine's Day. This is the interior of this guy. I mean, just, ooh, it's gonna be so much fun. Oh my goodness. We have 3 matte shades that are these guys right on this side, and all the rest are different types of metallics, duochromes, multichromes from what I can see. I mean, just all the things. It's gonna be fantastic. I am so excited. Not a single pressed glitter in sight, my friends. That is goals right there. And then I do have 2 more unique things. So we're gonna look at this guy first. It is a loose pigment, and so I do have my palette thing to mix it up with my mixing stuff. Look at me, sciencey technology terms, mixy things. And then the last one that I grabbed is a multichrome that came in super cool packaging that is the same packaging that you can get for several of their highlighters. And that is this. Look at this little crystal on there. It's very pretty. And then check this out. So you don't like pull it open. Ha! Look at that. Oh man. But this is this guy. He is gonna have some, oh man, all right. So we start off with that, which, what is that even? Like silverish, maroony kind of shade. And then it comes to a greenish, goldy type I mean, I love me a good multichrome. This shade is called Trial by Stone. We're gonna swatch everything, and then I'm gonna slap some of it on my face. I think we should start off with that loose pigment, just because I just immediately want to dive face first into this. Gotta get my brain on right to do loose powders. All right, here we go. Don't dump it. I have no idea how this is gonna turn out because this is very interesting as far as shades go. Here we go. I'm gonna try something. So this is what we're working with right off the bat. So it definitely has a maroon base to it. You can see the green. Oh yeah, definitely has quite an interesting shift to it with that green, a little bit more of a purplish to where you can definitely see the red that is the base of that shade, but really cool with the green underneath. And then as I am looking at it, I am seeing across to a little bit of blue, but that base on there is very interesting. All right, we are going to move on to the other single shades, and then we're gonna jump into the palette next after that. So let's go ahead and do Delirium first. That is the lighter purple shade. I'm gonna swatch that guy right next to this one. This guy, that's like one swipe. So you can definitely see the purple very clearly in the camera. When I look at it, I am seeing burnt red with some gold accents. Oh my goodness. So what I'm gonna do is after I'm done, you can see a little bit of blue in there. After I'm done swatching all of the multichromes, I will take a picture from my angle of what I'm seeing, and then I'm gonna throw it up here so you guys can see at the end what the difference is between them. So the next one we're gonna do is that darker purple, and this is the shade Dream. Oh god, that looks green from there. What? All right, so as I am looking at it from here, it is very similar to the one that we just swatched. And then in the camera, definitely picking up a little bit of that green and some of the blue on there, and the other one is looking more purple. Oh, there. You see that? That little bit of gold on that one? Oh man. All right, next one we're gonna do is that green shade, Destruction. Man, if you're having a bad day, whip out some multichromes and start swatching. Your day is immediately better. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, that is like... oh, definitely getting the green. Little bit of the blue you can see at the back corner there, because as I am looking at it, I am getting like straight marine blue. All right, and then we've got Desire, which is that reddish one. What? Just what? Oh my God. You can definitely already see a little bit of a shift at that back end there with the burnt red to finish it. I'm getting just like yellows and oranges as I am looking at it. Oh man. So real quick, these are the photo comparisons versus what you guys were seeing on the camera. So on the left is the picture that I took after I was done swatching, and you can definitely see from the top down that that purpley one is more magenta gold, and then the second one down that you guys are seeing as more blue also has purple and gold in it. The green one definitely has a shift to blue with a little bit of yellow in there, and then the bottom one where you guys were seeing a very strong burnt red, I was seeing orange and gold, and that's almost it. All right, and then the last one of the singles that we are going to swatch is that Trial by Stone shade. And I can definitely tell based on the little bit of residue on my fingers that all of these so far have a black base to them. That was a weird feeling. It's definitely a different formula for this guy than for the other ones, because the first swipe definitely looked more like a bit of a topper, and so it wasn't quite as opaque. But there is that guy. Yeah, so definitely lighter. I would say has a bit of a silverish sheen to it, a reddish undertone. You can definitely see on my finger here how that guy looks. Has some gold and green and blue and red. I mean, it's pretty much like the entire rainbow that you can get on there. But it is absolutely a bit of a lighter shade, and so you would need to build that one up a little bit more to get it to really show itself off. All right, now we have the palette, and I am super duper excited for this. Let's just go ahead and start with the neutral shades real quick, and then we will jump into all of the metallics. And so I'm going to do the neutrals on this same arm, and then we'll jump into the others on this arm. This is As If, which is the first of the matte shade. They are buttery soft. Okay, so this one is going to be just a very pale peachy kind of pink on there. Honestly, probably use that as a blush if you wanted to. All right, the next one is the shade Heart You Forever, also buttery soft, and this is going to be a deeper tone of purple. I would say like not quite eggplant, but a nice purple. And then the last matte shade is K-Bye, and that one is not quite as soft as the others, but still looks like it's going to be super duper pigmented. Well, there you go. This is more of a grayish blue. So that's your three matte shades that we've got to work with. And now we're going to get into the metallics. First up is going to be No Chill, and that is what looks like our iridescent shade, at least the first iridescent shade, and that is this guy. Oh yeah. You know, honestly, that is very reminiscent of the Kaleidos multichrome highlighter that I have. That shift is super duper similar, where it's like shifting from pink to orange to gold. So you could probably use this guy as a highlighter as well if you wanted to, but that is very nice. Let me see if we can get, there you go. There's some of the shift. But this would be an absolutely stunning highlight because it already has a little bit of a slick wet look to it. This on the, you know what? Just to prove my point, go on top of my Fenty highlighter that I threw on. Oh yeah. Yeah, you could totally use this as a highlight. That is Super duper pretty. So clearly 2 of the shades you could already use on your face in addition to your eyeballs. So that is fantastic. Then this middle shade that we have here is going to be Ghosted. And that definitely at a minimum looks like a duochrome to me. There's that guy. Also definitely an iridescent shade. You could probably honestly use this as a highlighter as well because they are both very, very light, but this one has more of a greenish blue undertone. There you go. You can see a little bit of the changes on there. And then that third metallic on the top row here, that guy right there, is the shade In Your Dreams. This guy does not look like an iridescent to me. Yeah. Alright, so this is definitely a duochrome at a minimum, pink to gold. Also some purple on there. That is fancy. Then on the second row, we have this guy right here, and that is the shade Please Stop. Got a little bit more of a gritty texture to it. So this one has more of a orangish to peach to yellow type shift. Just to show you guys the difference on the iridescent shades here real quick. This is a picture that I took from the different angles so you guys can see from left to right. The left 2 shades you can definitely see on the picture way more of the gold and yellow. Then on the second shade you can see more of that red to orange shift rather than some of that more pinkish purple that we're seeing on the video. Then the third shade I think is fairly similar where you're seeing that greenish to orangey type shift. And then on the fourth shade you can definitely see the difference where on the video it was coming across more purpley, whereas on the picture it's definitely more peachy in nature. Man, if this whole palette is nothing but multi-chromes, I'm gonna be so happy. Alright, so this middle shade here is going to be You Suck. I was wondering when we were going to get into more of the anti-Valentine's Day names. It definitely has a deeper base to it and is more of like a coppery tone, but a very, very faint kind of gold. But I'd say that's probably the first shade where I am a little bit disappointed with the payoff on there. I think it could have been a little bit better. But again, this is just the initial swatches, and so I will reserve judgment until we have actually applied it to my face. Because as we know, swatches don't say everything. Then this third shade in the second row is going to be Ugh. And this one starts off yellow. Ooh, definitely might have some lime green in there as well. Oh yeah, there's your lime green metallic. Alright, so I think the formulas for their like deeper metallics are not quite as bright and in your face, but I honestly think that's good to have a couple different types of formulas mixed into the palette. You have a better opportunity for layering, because if they're all the same formula, they're going to end up blending together and you're not going to be able to layer. It's just going to kind of all turn into one big massive color. And so I think that having these somewhat more muted shades but that are more opaque, I think is appropriate, because then you can definitely layer them. And then we come into the 3 deepest shades that we have on here. We're going to start with this guy here, which is No Thanks. Oh. All right. Oh, look at that. Oh man. So this is a very, very nice deep magenta purple shade. Has some gold glitter in there. Oh, very nice. It's almost like those shimmers that you get that are really matte shades just with some glitter in them, to where like when you're applying them the glitter just kind of fades away. That is very much what this reminds me of as I am swatching it, but with a metallic base instead of a matte base. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that one works out. Then we have this purpley dude, and that is F Off. Here we go. Yeah, I think that this is going to be very similar to that previous purple. It's just a slightly darker purple, but with those same kind of gold flecks in it. Definitely has a bit of a shift to it between blue and purple. Let's swatch this last guy, which definitely has a shift between green, blue, and purple. This guy right here, and that's a very light green. Oh, there you go. Yep, look at that. Bluish purple now. Okay, and that is Get Wrecked. Appropriate. Yes, that is my favorite. You can already see the shift on there between blue, green, purple. I mean, that shift is clear as day. Like even this camera can't ignore it. So I think what we're gonna do is just as many of these colors as I possibly can. So I definitely think I want to do something with these deeper guys that we have that are the singles, but I also really want to do a bunch from the palette. So I think what I am going to do is I'm going to do blues and purples on one eye and then greens and reds on the other. And we are just going to slap on as many of these colors as humanly possible. And then I have, to line my waterline, literally every shade that I could grab of my LA Girl eyeliners. So this is gonna be one colorful rainbow look here today. All right, so on my first eye, I'm going to add this bluish gray matte shade, and we are going to throw that on the outer corner. Alright, and then for the front half, we're going to use that purplish maroony eggplant shade. So there is that portion. I mean, that already alone is kind of fun, how it all blended together. So for the blue, we have to use this shade on top. So I'm just gonna dive right in. And I'm gonna go in with a dry brush first, and then we will apply setting spray to make it really stand out. Yeah, definitely gonna have to use setting spray. So get my Fix Plus here that I'm gonna throw on there. And pro tip as you are doing this, don't spray your brush and then go into the pigment, because then that's gonna cause you to go hard pan and they're gonna be unusable. So you're just gonna start off by putting the pigment onto your brush and then spray it after that. Ooh, cold. Oh, yes. All right, just look at this. Look at it already. I would be all right with just stopping right there, or just covering my entire eyeball just in that. And then to prevent getting product from the setting spray back into the palette, just wipe your brush off before you go back in and then repeat the process. And then I think for the front, I am going to start with Delirium, which is this single shade. Again, I'm gonna test it out with a dry brush first to see how that goes before I dip into the setting spray. Okay, lots of fallout with that one. I don't recommend doing what I just did. It got everywhere. There you go, like magic, it never happened. Okay. Still a little bit of fallout, but not nearly as much. And this pigment is definitely going on way better. Oh man. Look at that shift. Definitely some blues and purples mixed in there. Okay, I will throw out there that the purple shade was definitely more crumbly. There was a lot of fallout and not easy to clean up, whereas the blue shade was just perfect. As soon as you sprayed it, it went exactly where I wanted it to, and there was no fallout. We'll find out with the green and the red shades if they do the same thing on my other eye, so that we'll know if that's something that the single shades do but that the palette does not, or if it's just maybe that particular shade. I think I'm gonna go into this guy just to finish out that look on the inner corner. All right, let's see if we can do this one without setting spray. Oh yes. Yes, we can. It is kind of interesting. So even though it applied nicely to the inner corner, it did not want to blend with that purple shade at all. And so where the two colors met, there's actually a little bit of a gap. So I will use some setting spray again and see if that maybe makes the difference for adhering. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's kind of one of those things where once you start using the setting spray, you're gonna have to keep using the setting spray. So I think on the bottom, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to attempt to use this purpley shade first on the inner half, and then we're gonna go into that more bluish purple on the back half, so that the whole eye is like bluish purple with some weird pinks and greens in there, because, you know, multichromes. sort of was applying. I mean, I'm definitely also using a very thin brush, but you don't get any of the gold flecks that were in that shade. But we will jump into this darker single shadow. Yeah, it's already coming off onto the brush much better, because that first shade that I was using, it barely even wanted to stick to the brush, let alone go onto my eye. Oh man, I'm digging this so much. All right, I'm gonna throw on a liner real quick and mascara, and then we're gonna jump into the other eye where we're gonna do greens and orangey golds. All right, so the first eye is done, and I thought it would still be kind of fun to have the waterline be half and half, so I did the front half purple and then the back half a little bit of blue shade. I definitely think this looks super duper cool with how the different shades are reflecting on there. But now we're gonna get into something even more interesting, because we're gonna do a greens and orangey yellows. So that's going to turn out real interesting. The back half of the eye is going to be the green portion, and then the front half is going to be the orangey yellow. I think what we're going to start off with is building up the base, and so I'm going to start off with this yellowy metallic shade that we were talking about before, and I'm going to build that up a little bit above my lid, so that way as we apply the darker shades on there, those will just be on the lid. So it should be a little bit, I don't know, two-tony. So we're just gonna pull that all the way up to the crease, because then when I add that deeper shade, I'm gonna keep it just on the lid so that hopefully you'll be able to see both shades. But this is what I'm talking about with like how swatches can lie. This went on so freaking quick, and it is a light lime greeny yellow shade, but that is decently opaque for like one quick coat with my brush. And then we are going to do the same thing for the front half using that more coppery metallic shade. Okay, this guy is definitely a little bit of a lighter tone. But I mean, again, like if you're just looking to be someone that's dipping your toe into these, it's kind of nice to have some slightly lighter shades. I mean, this is a power move, right? This isn't like bam. But then this guy is a little bit more of a subtle look. I mean, it's definitely still coating it. I just think that the shade is perhaps a little bit close to my skin tone, and so it's not quite as strong of a pigment. But I think that the two of them are blending very nicely into each other, so that you're getting that nice little bit of a shift between the two already just to start off. Man, this would be weird if I just left this like this. Super tame, and then gah! For the outer corner, we're gonna start off with this guy, because yeah. Yes, do you see what I mean? How it's like that deeper shade, but it sort of blends up into that yellow, and so it pulls a little bit more of that like serpenty yellow out of that multichrome. Oh man, yeah. And that one also, like the tiniest speck of fallout, and that was it. So I'm thinking that it might just have been this one particular shade, but the final test will be with the last one, which is this red guy that's gonna go on the front half. If that one also does not have a ton of fallout, then that will be the final thing, that it really was just this particular shade that was causing that for whatever reason. Those two shades, like, let me come in a little closer on here for you to see. Those are very nice. Little bit of fallout with that red one, I will say. Not quite as much as what the purple guy had done. For the under eye, I just used the exact same green and reds that I'd used on top of my lid. I do think I managed to do this guy a little bit cleaner. This one is a little bit on the extra fluffy side. So then for the inner corner, we're going to go into this dude right here. I feel like I'm just spritzing the product right off of the brush. That did very nicely. And oh man, look at how that like, all right, I'm coming in. Look at how that blended into that. I mean, this whole thing, I'm also really, I don't even, you know what, but I really like this. This is like all the fall vibes. Oh my goodness, I could just live off of this in the fall time. This one I feel like is more headed towards Christmas into New Year's type thing. You know, so two very, very different looks, but I like both of them. Oh my God. I think that the only thing that this palette is lacking is like a power green, because you do have like your oranges and your magentas that you could mix together to make a red. There's nothing like this guy in the palette. And so I think that's the only shade where I'm like, I really kind of wish that I could have had that in here as well. Maybe remove one of the other matte shades and throw that guy in. Let me go ahead and finish lining this guy and then we will be done. All right, so the final look is complete on both eyes, and I'm gonna come in close one last time for you guys to take a look. Still kept the split liner on there. I think the quality of the shades is very, very nice so far. The palette was about $68, which I feel like you're getting 9 duo multi-chrome formulas and then 3 matte shades, and so I feel like that is a fairly competitive price for a palette that is including multi-chrome shades in there. They do also have a thing on their website where if you sign up with your email, you can get 10% off, and so that's really, really nice. I think that the single shades are really, really cool. I think this guy with a little bit of the fallout on there, I was a little bit upset about that, but it was very easy to clean up, and so not the end of the world. I think that these 3 dudes are very, very nice. This green shade, oh my goodness, it's so, so nice. And then this red guy too. I mean, my God, you could do like all the different looks that you could do with those. I think that the loose pigment, like the more that I'm looking at it, and since it's like dried on my hand, it's interesting, but I don't know how I feel about a maroon base. It is very, very unique and interesting, and I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit more, but my initial inclination is I probably wouldn't use this shade very, very much. And then this guy, I think this guy is super duper interesting. I'm definitely gonna test it out on its own to see how that would look on the eye. And then I'll probably post a picture of that to my Instagram at some point, just so you guys can also see from that one how that looks. This was super duper fun. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of all of this. I mean, I love multi-chromes and I love tons and tons of color, but let me know what you guys thought. Give me a thumbs up if you guys like this. If you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. Come join our family on here. We talk about indie brands, colorful makeup, literally whatever you guys want. You let me know what you want to see and I will make it happen. So other than that, you guys just go have a good one.